All right, Mike.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
from PinPoint. Let's start with the title of this film and how you came to it.
Sure, absolutely. So the film is called PinPoint, which kind of represents the name of the application, the phone app that is reminiscent of Find My Friends. So I wanted to come up with an alternative name, which kind of invokes something that pinpoint means very precise, which is not the case in the story.
Yeah, interesting. And did the title come to you before? How long did it take you to come up with that title? Was it like the story was finished and you're like trying to figure out how the best way to summarize it in one word? Like, what was that process like for you?
It actually really came very early in the process. I just said I have to come up with a clever, concise name that kind of evokes what's going on here. So, yeah, it's super early.
Yeah, I'm the same in that sense. And so for you, your role in the project, I guess you can fully elaborate on that.
Sure, yeah. So this, for me, was a pretty challenging thing because I wrote it, I directed it, and I produced it. So it was kind of the first time wearing all three hats, which are pretty major hats to wear. And, so it was a challenge, but I think I was up for it.
Cool. What was the most natural for you? Like, what's your thing? Are you more of a director, more of a writer, more a producer? And you're like,
boy, that is a great question because it's kind of my internal struggle. I'm a producer.
Okay.
Love logistics, moving parts, schedules, timing, all of that just is second nature to me. I'm comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
So to move into the more artistic side, I'm a writer originally, so that part, but if I'm only writing, then I feel like I have that focus.
Yeah.
But to do all three things for this one, producing is my comfort, and the challenge of directing really, it took some effort. I had a lot of shortcomings, I think. But I learned a lot.
Good. From that, I mean, you learned a lot. What was some of the things that you felt were your most, or I won't say most prominent, but like the biggest lessons for you that really landed for this project particularly?
Yeah, I think it's that, for me, it's that separation of the, how do you devote half of your mind to the business end of it, and how do you give fair and equal value to the artistic side of it?
Yeah.
And that's what I learned is when the camera's rolling, you got to get way over here on the artistic side.
Yeah.
And for me, on my own standards, I fell short a little bit, but my goal is to say, all right, so the next time out, you've learned a bunch of stuff that you're going to be much better at or prepared for.
Yeah, that's nice. What are some of the major themes in this film?
For me, it's the overtness of technology, right? That need to be constantly connected or entertained or aware. Yeah. You know, it's today. My wife and I went on a little hike this morning, and she said, "Do you want your earpods?" And I said, "No, I don't. I just want to be out there, and I want to not listen to music or not listen to a podcast. So it's just that that feeling that you have to know everything, everywhere, all the time, right? I think it's overrated. Yeah,
that's so interesting. It's so funny. My wife and I had that conversation 2 days ago as well about just feeling like we need to fill an empty space with something technology-wise, or I was going into the sauna the other day. I never really have my headphones in because it's really the only time I could listen to nothing, and my friends was like, "Oh, you're gonna have your headphones in." He's like, "I don't have mine," and I was like, "You're right." I was like, "I never even have my headphones. I'm just leave them." He was like, "No, I was joking," and I was like, "No, I never have my headphones in the sauna because we need that silence, that space. Like, why do I need to listen to music right now in this,
Absolutely. Yeah. So, part of it for me, it started out as just kind of a concept for a comedy, but then I thought, there's a little social commentary here, and I think it's what I'm most proud of is I think it's very relatable. Yeah. Right? Your situation, mine, other people who have seen it, they said, "Oh, I totally get it." Yeah. I'm pretty proud of that.
I get it. That's a really good thing to be proud of. So, I mean, with that as well, what's one of the things you Two questions, actually.
Sure.
When you started the project, did you have in mind, I want the audience to walk away with this? And then now that the project is finished, and you have the whole product, do you have a new thing or the same thing where you're like, I want the audience to take this?
You're a great interviewer. Yeah, absolutely. Both points. Yes, when I started, it was just, I'm going to write a little comedy thing here, and with the twist ending, and I'm going to surprise people. But now in the end that it's complete, and people have seen it, and we're at this festival, it has become something different. It is more about, how does this relate to you? Can you, do you know somebody like that? Is it going on in your own life? Is it okay to be alone and not be on top of everything at every minute of your day? So it's very true. Just exactly how you asked it.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing when we make these products that move people in different ways, and we never really know how sometimes. But one thing I really try to inform my students of, or really try to put on them, is that before you what do you want out of this project? What are you trying to say, or what do you want people to think? What do you want them to feel, understand, learn, experience?
It's the subtext, right?
Yeah.
It's just the overt of what's happening visually is one thing, but it's that little, and you want people to take away something that they can relate to. That's why I said the relatable part to me is the thing I think I'm most proud of.
Yeah, it makes you proud when people is like, yeah, I get that, or I experienced that, or It also it helps me understand this more.
Sure.
Very rewarding as a filmmaker. For you, what was the hardest thing about, I don't want to say the project, but what was the hardest thing about telling this concept? Not necessarily the story, but the concept.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot of that in post. Was how do I make it? How do I reinforce what I'm showing, what I'm telling? And for me, it was the transitions and the graphics. So I'm talking about technology, so I had to make those cut scenes visually appealing, right? And I had to make them bright. I even went a further step with how I dressed my lead. I always wanted her in very bright, vibrant colors because that ending was a very different portion of the story, right? So everything was very graphic and bright and upfront, and so it was in post where I really kind of went what you discussed.
Yeah, that's interesting. My last two questions for you. One's really creative and it's fun, and I like asking this question. The other one is really for those who might see this, you know what I mean, and get to just hear your words and hear from different filmmakers. But I want to ask that question first, which is, what scares you the most about this project? Either doing it, finishing it, starting it, production, what scared you the most?
I think I'll speak in a broader sense. For me, as a creative, I think the part that scares me the most is exposing yourself.
Yeah.
So nothing specific about this project, because there were a lot of beautiful films this year which were very personal.
Yeah.
To me, that's even more risky, but just the exposure. You're creating something from the ground up, and you're putting it out there, and people are going to view it and have input, or not input, but they're going to challenge you, or so it's just the exposure of being a creative person and saying, this is what I did, and will people accept it? Will they understand it? Will they appreciate it? The good thing about film festivals is you're surrounded by peers, and it's a group of people who I hope, like I do, want them to succeed.
And care about the work, and understand the effort that went into just trying to tell this one thing. This one little intention, the hours upon hours upon hours. And the last question, is, it's in light. I'm just curious to know, for you, if you had to put this film on a painting, what would that look like?
What would it look like? Let's see. I got to give that a little thought. I think the painting would be almost a duality. I think there would be portions of it I'm going to be very vague here, that were super busy and had a lot of activity, but there'd be some place in that painting where there was none of that, or very little of that. Something quiet, something isolated, something private.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't, it's such a deep question, I don't know that I can answer specifically what the imagery would be, but there'd be busyness, and then there'd be something that wasn't.
Yeah, but that vagueness, that's beautiful. That vagueness is quite detailed.
Yeah.
That says everything.
For interpretation.
yeah, that says everything. That's great. One of the best answers I've heard all day. So that's beautiful.
Too kind. Thank you.
Well, Mike, thank you for sharing your work, for sharing the space. Thank you for let me pick your brain.
No, I appreciate it. I really enjoyed my
Corner.
time with you, for sure.
And just for the end of this, you can give us an intel slate. Just give us your name and the name of your film.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marc.
Yeah.
My name is Mike Sorrentino. I'm the writer, producer, and director of PinPoint, and it's been a pleasure to be here at I.F.B's 4th Annual Film Festival.
So, thank you. Perfect.